Park. Here to tell us more about the event is Steve Rose with the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. Good morning.
Hi, Bree.
Thank you for being here and taking time out. I know you all are very busy today getting ready for the event.
Wonderful to be in Chattanooga.
Absolutely. Well, you know, last year, the Decision America, there was a lot of attention, you know, as he visited 50 states, you know, and tried to just, you know, increase prayer for the election. So then tonight, this is the kickoff of the Tennessee tour.
It is all this week. Okay. Chattanooga tonight, and then Clarksville and Jackson and Memphis all this week.
So we get to host, we get to kick things off here at Coolidge Park. So talk to me a little bit about tonight, and kind of there's always there's music, always a musical groups that kind of follow him and travel with Mr. Graham. So tell us kind of what we can anticipate for this evening.
Yeah, tonight, so we have two musical guests, Dennis Agajanian, as well as the Afters. So they'll both be on stage tonight, and then a message of hope from Franklin.
Right, and I would think that the enthusiasm has to be great. They've been very busy, the organization. You said, you mentioned yourself, you were in London. There's lots of different divisions of the organization. But they were in Washington last week. And, you know, both President Trump and then Vice President Pence have both spoken out recently, you know, just about the persecution of Christians in particular. And I know they had a great World Summit. It was a World Summit in Defense of Persecuted Christians event in Washington.
Yes.
That was huge.
It was a wonderful opportunity to draw attention to what is a very difficult topic right now. Christians under a tremendous amount of pressure and assault globally.
Absolutely, because it's, you know, even if you're not a religious person, I mean, you know, it's just in general, there's been a lot of persecution, as you mentioned. So, you know, what a great way, and I would think that you probably could agree that it's probably important for people to come out to these kind of events and to these rallies. You know, what kind of, I guess that's kind of the mission, really, is just to kind of raise awareness for the persecution issues.
And to pray and to raise awareness so that people will pray. Right. It's one thing to be concerned; it's another thing to call on God, and so that's the importance of those events.
Right, absolutely. And we mentioned that there's several different, you know, groups and divisions. There's so much going on with Billy Graham organizations, and then with Franklin, his son, as well. Yes. When did you come to be involved in the organization?
5 years ago.
Okay.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit kind of about what you do. I know you're involved a little bit in the In Hope project and portion of it as well, right? Yeah. I've done my homework. I knew that you had been involved in that.
Well, my whole group, we get to work with churches, working with pastors and leaders all over the world, particularly here in the United States, and to encourage the church. The church is under a fair bit of assault as well, and pastors are discouraged, and so it's good to remind people that there is a God who answers prayer, and so that's our privilege to work with churches.
Right, and it's kind of a grassroots effort, if you would say, and it's a part where you have, like, I guess, is it media? You really use the media to speak to these church groups and kind of as a tool and a resource for
them,
we
do. I mean, it goes back 6 decades. Mr. Graham, who was one of the first ones to really use media effectively, and to make sure that everyone who has access to media can hear. So we have a very church-based, church-centric program, but also we try to use whatever technology we have, the internet, the airwaves, radio, all of that.
Right, and I saw, I think at like 95 years old, he recorded a message for this particular project, I guess, that you use to give out to pastors.
He did. It was called The Cross, and it was sort of his final message to the United States. It's available at bga.org if anybody wants to go view it, as well as many other of those resources, short programs that really talk about the hope of the gospel. So it's exciting to see.
And I think that there's a statistic that says that he has preached to more live audiences than anyone in the world.
I think that's true. Yeah.
It's got to be a great opportunity. They're working for that organization. You said just mentioned you were in London, and you've had lots of opportunities. So what are some of the highlights of just being a part of this organization?
Well, I think it's the sense of vision and scope. You have the whole world, and then you have the gospel, the power of the gospel, which hasn't changed, still changes people's lives, still brings hope, and can turn a life that's very dark into a light of life, so a life of light. So it's exciting. You have but we have the whole world, and we have a lot of work to do. So we try to work carefully, but we work fast.
Right, and globally. I guess that you travel around the world. You just mentioned you were in London, and so you do make a lot of world travel, because it really is a world issue of raising awareness all over.
It is. The United States is very important, and we have a strong emphasis here, but the global summit, for instance, this weekend really drew attention to the fact that in Iraq and in Singapore and all of these places where the church is, because the church is global, that we try to help and support and assist, and give counsel and try to encourage where we can.
Right, and I guess that's the whole point of the summit that we mentioned earlier. You know, in Washington, I think there's 130 countries that were represented there, and they did something a little unique. They actually had people that gave personal testimonies of being. I've heard, and I wasn't there. I've seen the highlights of it though, and there were some really powerful statements that were made on that.
There were, and these were people that are on the ground. These aren't people that have written textbooks. These are people that are dealing with it day in, day out, and got on the plane and went back to it. So some very courageous people. And who are willing to go right back to where they came from and yet still serve Christ. Right,
and do you think that Mr. Graham will share some of that message that he brought and that enthusiasm that he brought from being in Washington?
He just came from it. It just ended on Saturday, so it's 48 hours later.
Right, absolutely. Yes. And will you be going to the other parts of Tennessee? It starts out here, as we mentioned. The Tennessee tour kicks off tonight at Coolidge Park, as we mentioned, but then you're going to be going into Clarksville, Jackson, Memphis?
And Memphis.
Okay, will you go to each of those?
Yes, we will.
With them? Okay.
Yes, we will. Anybody that's here in Chattanooga, if you'd like to come to Clarksville, it's just up the road.
That's right. I was going to say, all those are doable trips, aren't they?
Feel free to spend the week.
If they can't make it out tonight, they can certainly hop on board then perhaps those other tours as well. All right, well, wonderful. You've given us some great information. Let's give everyone all the details. It is happening tonight at Coolidge Park.
7:30.
7:30 it will get started. So we'll have a little bit of music, and then he will take the stage, I guess, shortly thereafter.
Yeah, Dennis Hagajani, and then the afters, and then Franklin. I would encourage everybody to get there early because we expect a fair number of people to come, and also to remember to bring a blanket or a chair. There are no chairs set up, so just but bring food and come out. It'll be a great opportunity for the whole family.
And I actually got to hear Dennis myself Saturday night at our church. He came and I got to hear him, and he was amazing. I have no idea how. I think he actually has a record for picking the fastest picker. Yes, it was incredible. He's amazing.
Tremendously
he is going to be there tonight.
He'll be there
as well.
tonight.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you definitely want to get there early so you can hear him, because he is an outstanding guitar player. For all the information is right there on your screen. Again, it's at Coolidge Park, taking place at 7:30 tonight, and you can also find out more information always on their website, TennesseeBillyGraham.org. Thank you so much for being here with us again this morning, and you stay with us because we'll be right back with more Let's Chat.